version of what the conference is about. The conference is like 8 hours, it's very long, it's different seminars. But it's like this. I started this way. I started in a little room with a few people, and now it's over 3,000 people. So know this is a day that's the beginning of something beautiful.
Oftentimes in my life, I'm defined recently in this space by my kids and their lives. And so I'm just so excited to take care of my kids and love on my kids, and I have no life. And I neglect myself for them, and I try to compensate with, it's for them, not realizing that I need time too.
My parents showed me, you gotta work your butt off, you gotta climb the corporate ladder, you have to make money, you have to do it all. And I did it, and I regret it. But luckily I learned quickly enough, because shortly after I got married, after I had done so many things, so many jobs, multiple jobs, I was working from the time I was 14. And and I feel like I've been working forever, but the thing was that I was just running around like a little rat, just spinning my wheels and making things happen. And shortly after my marriage, I had to become a single mom. It was a very hard decision, but one that really turned my life. My low point, my turning point came when I had a very hard custody battle with my ex-husband because he saw how I was running around. But truth be told, as a single mom, I had 3 jobs because I needed to make ends meet. So you can imagine how confused I was and hurt that he was trying to take my daughter away from me when I was trying to do what was best for us. That actually became a blessing in disguise, because these jobs that I was taking on were teaching me so much about myself. For the first time, I showed up as me, because that's all my daughter wanted from me, was for me to show up as her mom, not as this person that had 3 jobs, that was running around and doing everything and trying to please everyone, because we are, as women, nurturers and people pleasers, unfortunately. But these jobs, again, showed me so much about me, and I started to finally show up for the first time in my life. And I discovered that even the jobs I had, all they really wanted from me was me. That the reason I was doing such an amazing job was because I was showing up as myself, not because I was running around working 7 days a week. So that was something that clicked in my head, and I realized that's what every single woman needs, is to show up in her authenticity, taking care of her. We don't need to come up as someone else or show up as someone else. We need to take care of us, make ourselves a priority for our children, for our families, for our jobs, our careers, our businesses. And once I was able to get that in my head, I was getting raises, I was getting promotions, everything was just opening up for me. And that's when I realized, I want to do this for me now. So I decided to become an entrepreneur. And it was the best decision I made, because the jobs that I had were mostly in finance and human resources. So I was making money for companies. Oh yeah, they want that. And I was also running human resources, where I got to learn firsthand true potential being denied opportunity, just by the way they looked on paper. So that also taught me so much about humans and about people and about why we do what we do, why we get the jobs we do. And I was able to identify leaders. And that allowed me to shine, because potential in each and every one of us is amazing. It's so amazing what we do in everything, in our everyday. So in my business, I support women, specifically entrepreneurs, whether they're emerging entrepreneurs or seasoned entrepreneurs, is to show up with authenticity. You show up in your business, in your careers, in your families, in your neighborhoods, in your communities. Just show up. That's what we want. And make yourself a priority, because that's how we are able to show every single person that's in our lives what they need to be doing. So we become leaders. We become leaders as women. We become leaders in our community, in every relationship that we have.
When things start getting difficult, a lot of people see that as a roadblock. They see the difficulties and the struggles as like maybe a victim mindset, like, why is this happening to me? Like, what did I do? When in reality, when things start getting difficult, Like, that's when you need to lean in. Like, you need to start leaning into the struggles, because that's when you know things are starting to go right. When things stop being easy for you, that's when things start going right, and you lean into those struggles. I have a pre-med background. I studied kinesiology and integrative physiology when I was in college, and I was an athlete. I was always active, but I never really cared what I put in my body. And so that was sort of the beginning of my journey. It was very much a need for immediate gratification that took me away from my actual knowledge base, like knowing what I should be doing to take care of myself, how I should approach this the correct way, and started doing all these things that I knew in my heart and my head were incorrect. So I would eat that way, and I would go to the gym like 2-3 times a day, 2-3 hours out of the day, and just really like beat myself into the ground. And when I started telling this story, people were like, "Oh man, there's no way that would have worked." But it did work. I lost like 65 pounds in about 5 months, and that was kind of, it was like, oh, like it worked, but at what cost? Right? And the thing was, like, I sort of had achieved what it was that I had wanted to achieve. But still, when I looked in the mirror, I was like, I hate it. And it made me realize that, like, I still wasn't satisfied because whatever it was internally was not fixed by the external change. And so I was looking at it and I was like, oh, how am I going to fix this? Like, how much more can I starve myself? Like, how much more can I work out? And so it wasn't even like all the stuff that I'd done to my body, like I wasn't happy seeing myself on the physical change, and what I did it for didn't matter anyway. And that's really when I started to be like, all right, we need to do this the right way. Like, you need to wake up and you need to do something. And I just kept coming up with this phrase, like, it was a mess, but my mess has become my message. Instead of falling victim to why is this happening to me, you just always have to ask new questions about, not why is this happening to me, but what can I learn from this? And and what can I take away from this that I can share and maybe help somebody else through something similar?
So wellness to me is a deliberate effort. We have to make an effort to take care of ourselves. And as I started to go and grow, and once I moved to New York, things just kind of like shifted in my life. I'm still working with the American Heart Association, but I wasn't really able to put a lot of time in my personal passion to really speak life into women and to help, like what we're doing now, basically educate you on awakening to who you are so that you can take those necessary steps to see what works for you. So what do I need to work on? What do I not need to work? What do I need to totally remove? Because our core is that core value of who you are and where you're going. So it's not just the food, it's also the mental state. And that's how I looked at it before. I looked at it like, okay, wow, so it's cigarette smoke, and it's the food that we're putting in our bodies, and that's creating the heart attacks, and it's creating the high blood pressures and the diabetes and all these different things. And that's true, but it's also here. You have to think your way through your life journey. There are things that you really do not need, but especially when we're putting pound things on our plate, it's changing the way you think. It's about my overall wellness, and it's about overall wellness to share with women so that they can actually take a peek within inside themselves. And like Troy, you stated, those moments of identifying things that's going on with your body, because it's up to us to go within, because we have that inner voice that we know or we feel like there's something a little off. And we have to pay attention to those things. And if you're not really fulfilling the life that you know that you can have, it puts on stressors. And you're unable to function in your calling, in your gifts, in what you know that you should be doing. It will hold you back. So when we speak about wellness, again, and I'll state it again, it's a deliberate effort. You flip the switch on and you have to think of your wellness in a whole different way of what you see it now. And for Farrah to have this amazing event that she has in New York and here now, which is gonna like be like huge, this is the best thing that you can ever step out and come into, because my motto is, it takes courage to be courageous. And you guys took a step today. You had no idea what to expect. She was gonna sit here, what you were gonna hear, but you were courageous enough to step out and come to listen to what we had to say or what we had to share. And one thing that I pray that you walk away with today is that self-care, you are yourself. You have to take care of yourself, and you have to truly awaken to the woman that you are, and be okay to make those changes in your life and not feel like, she stated, being selfish. And if you're a woman who even when, want to be an entrepreneur, or whatever it is that you want to do, face that fear and move in it anyways. Because if you do not move in it, it's going to hold you back, and you're going to create dis-ease within yourself. So wellness, write it out, make your vision plain. It all connects and goes together.
What makes you you? What makes you this unique, beautiful person that no one else can be? Because there's only one you.